And for the people that are entering late, and then we'll start. Okay, well, thanks for joining. The purpose for this is, first off, to kind of get you guys all together. You know, you are a group that will always be near and dear to me. I'm gonna silence everybody here. All right. Okay. You are a group that will always be near and dear to me because you guys obviously have been with me. Some of you have been with me from the very beginning of my little experiment of, hey, let me put a bunch of people together that I'm working with and create this group. Gee, what should I call it? And some of you have been with me since before there was even Facebook Live. I mean, when my program first started, there was no Facebook Live, and you know, we grew together, literally grew together. And one thing that you guys, you know, didn't get to experience is all of these onboarding Zoom sessions that are just amazing. Oh my gosh. I mean, to think that when you guys started with me, it was email only, and that's how I taught you everything, and Facebook only. These people joining right now, and if you're someone that just became loyal, you're getting kind of a little bit of it, but people that are signing up with me right now, they get an onboarding Zoom private one-on-one with me, and then they get to sign up with a group onboarding Zoom, and I mean all the presentations, and so I feel like you guys are loyal, and you help run the group by answering a lot of these questions on Facebook, and you're the role models, you're the inspiration, and you don't need to attend all of these presentations because you can lead them yourselves. And so for that, you're never at them. And I miss seeing you guys, and I thought, you know what, I need to draw attention to your needs, because a lot of times when I'm doing these presentations, in fact a lot, I refer to you by example without using your names, but I'm always like, oh yeah, this person and this person and this person, you've seen her in ads, and I'm referring to your stories along the way, and your struggles, and as somebody that still struggles, I know that 2 years down and 1 year down and 9 months in, there are different struggles, and I thought we need to create a curriculum for that in the program. So that's why I thought we need to start incorporating that into this program. So with that being said, our very first meeting today, I thought we could talk about motivation and what happens to motivation. And you know, unlike my other presentations and my other meetings with the new body, the newbies, I do most of the talking, and I present. Where this, I'd like to do a little presentation. I'd like you guys to come in and interject. And I do want to keep it at an hour. Otherwise, you know, when I do another one, people aren't going to want to sign up. So, so I do have an agenda, and I am going to move things along because I do want everybody to participate and share their thoughts along the way as well. So with motivation, when somebody starts a program, when you guys all started a program, your motivation is so high, and you are so careful to cross every T and dot every I, and going into a program, everybody always is. Everything is just so fanatically perfect. And you guys know now that it's unrealistic to be that way all the time. Not only with eating or exercise, but with really anything. I mean, with you know, a house and a car and a whatever it is. We tend to slack or even let up the reins a little bit on the strictness of it. But with nutrition and with exercise, it's important to keep it always within a reachable distance of manageability. And that's why I think that this portion of our talk is important, because I see this with a lot of people once they get into the loyal membership, is they start to let go of the motivation completely. It just becomes something that they just don't even they don't care about it anymore, and it becomes like the car that we all buy that we love so much when we bring it home, that we park 10 miles away and don't let our kids eat in, that suddenly it's like the shit pit that you know, there's jelly beans and French fries wedged in every corner and dings all over. You get what I'm saying. So how have you been able to keep this lifestyle within a manageable reach, and share maybe some stories that you've had where you've let it go too far, and what do you do? Because the problem is, and I've seen this happen, and there are a ton of people in this program right now who probably don't even know that this meeting's happening, because they have completely shut out everything about nutrition because they've let it go way too far. So any insight on that? And I will unmute everybody here. Unmute. Okay, any insight? Anything to say about that? Yeah.
I do. Actually, this has been quite, I've been on for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years. And to me right now, I think what keeps me motivated and why I continue to keep the track that I am so far is that I keep everything in my reach. So I have a Get You Fit book of all the recipes that is on my counter. And I look at it every day. I see it, it's there. So I go through the recipes, but I still plan every Sunday. I will go through and plan every meal out. Only because I know I do go off track sometimes, but I have that plan, and it helps me get back on track, knowing that if I go out to dinner, I'll just get right back on track. I have noticed though, like if I go out to dinner on a Friday night, if we have plans on Saturday, Sunday, things start spiraling a little bit. I don't feel as good. Like when Monday comes around, I get right back on track. Like I have the hardest time. I used to always spiral, and for some reason, I really enjoy the food. I enjoy the recipes. I enjoy everything about it, so that it's easy for me to get back on track. So for me, I mean, I've been there, I've done that. Every diet, I failed on every single one of them. But this is the only one that I've been able to get back. And even if I put on like maybe a pound or two, it comes right off as soon as I get right back on track. Mm-hmm. So that's how I kind of just keep everything at reach. And I still weigh everything. I'm trying really hard. That I found that that's so important to do that. And I think that's what really helps. At least for me, it does.
Okay. Good. Awesome. Thanks. Anybody else have anything to say? I think what she said is really important, because oftentimes people will have that weekend and then the scale goes up and they don't know how to handle it, and they think it's over, and then that's it. It's over. Because they cannot handle seeing that little fluctuation. And sometimes that fluctuation could be 5 pounds or 6 pounds or more. Oh, here comes my wine.
So sorry for the wait.
Thank you.
That's
good. That's good.
Back up in the kitchen.
That's good. Cheers, everyone. So you know, you have to keep it realistic, and even if you have a weekend where it's a weekend or you're completely off, because it's going to happen. You know, for so many years, I thought that I was going to have this lifestyle of perfection, and that the weekends were going to be one bad meal, and then, you know, every once in a while you'd have your bad weekend. You can't let that derail you, because it's going to happen. Anybody in here have an experience where the motivation's gotten away from them and they've had like a bad week or month or longer where they thought, oh, this is it, I'm never going to get back on track, like it's over, like during Get You Fit time?
I'll go. Yeah, for sure that's happened.
Yeah.
So I've been on the program since last August, so almost a year. And like the first 4 months, like through Christmas was really great. And then in January, it felt like kind of everything started to fall apart. My grandma got really sick, so it was easy to use that as an excuse because we were spending weekend after weekend in the hospital, so there wasn't time to plan. And then March came and there was a pandemic and the world went crazy. And so then it was easy to use that as an excuse. And then it would just be like, I would be really good for like 2 days, but that was it. And so everything kind of went to hell. And then I found motivation, funny enough. A friend that I didn't refer to the program heard about Get You Fit through someone else, saw her commenting in the Facebook group, and we started talking, and it was like just the push I needed to get my life back in order.
Yep. And that's awesome. And, you know, just to let you guys know, and thank you for sharing, Michelle. And she also lives in the city. So you were in like the midst of all those riots. Like literally, I remember texting her going, are you okay?
Yeah, life has been weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, I don't know how many of you guys are aware of this. Some of you may not be, and I would actually love to know how many of you guys are, because sometimes I have conversations in my head, and I assume that you guys hear them. But there's been many times during the 2 years where I've been off the program for weeks or months. And what I mean by that is my own struggle, you know, where either I won't weigh myself for 2 weeks and I'm in the bathroom looking at the scale going, nope, not today. You know, I mean, I still do it. And I just today was telling somebody that I could pull up Ignite, and there's probably 40 videos on there now. I could pull, well, not quite 40, because I'd say 30. I could pick out which ones I was having psychological fat days that I literally was derailed. I could tell you which of those days I was lacked motivation. I mean, it still happens. And so that actually is bringing me to the next topic. And the next topic, and I'd love to hear if you guys experience this. The next topic is how this motivation sometimes comes in waves. So we have long-term motivation and we have short-term motivation. The long-term motivation is like Michelle just said, where she was literally off the plan for a while until she met the friend, and then she was, and what I mean by that is off the plan, you know, not texting me and not following the meals and kind of MIA from the plan. But short-term motivation is when you're actively in the program, like Cheryl was actively in the program, but then lost her motivation for like the weekend, you know, or like the week where you're having like a really icky week and you're like, oh, no, I shouldn't be eating these chips. I'll start good next week. But you're still weighing every day and you're still checking in with me and you're still logging and but you're still eating the stupid chips. And your weight's up and you hate the way you look, but you're still eating the damn chips every day. And like, no matter what, every day you wake up and you're like, I will stop today. And every day you end up eating the damn chips, you know, those. Okay. So motivation comes in ways like that sometimes, where you are having like just a killer week and you're like, energy's high and you're like, all you want to do is work out and eat fresh vegetables and fruit and cook and, you know, be Miss Happy Pants. And then just like that, the next week, you are just like tired all the time and don't want to cook and don't want to eat healthy. And does anybody have those waves?
I'm in one right now. I'm in the part of the motivation, like the weekend I didn't do so well. I was eating cookies and Skittles and went out a couple times. I felt crappy. I was like, all right, gotta start waking up at 5 o'clock again. I gotta start working out, measure my food. I got down under 160 and then I went back up over 160. I was like, I want to get back under 160. So my motivation is high again, but we'll see how it lasts for.
Oh,
So.
Anyone else? Or like when you're on a high motivation, you're like working out and you're like unstoppable. Like you just feel like I can't wait to work out tomorrow. Like, you know, and then on the low, you literally are like, I'm not working out. I don't even care. Like,
Irene, I can share. I had one of those days, right? And I took your advice to get back on the wheel. And I'll say I started back in December. So I'm the newest loyal member probably here. So I'm really interested in learning about your stories here.
Yep, she just signed up today. She's a newbie.
I'm excited. This is good. But you know, I did have a few days here and there where I'm like constantly on the go. That's how I like life. It has to be on the go. Well, you wake up one day and you're like, my body's hurting. I don't know if I want to work out. So today was one of those days, and yesterday was one of those days, and I had to literally like pull myself out of the bed because I knew from talking to Irene the day before, if I didn't do this, I was going to derail on my meal plan as well as the workout plan. So like I literally just forced myself and I felt great afterwards. And then the day before I talked to Irene, it was one of those weekend days when, hey, I had 2,000 to 3,000 calorie day in my head because I didn't follow the plan. I was just eating whatever was available. I was tired, didn't care about cooking, and I didn't want to log. I'm like, I am not touching my FitnessPal. This is not happening today. Well, I forced myself again to log, and I just wanted to see how much damage I did that day. And to my surprise, like it was 2,000 calories, and I was like, okay, not so bad. You know, I'll just drink a bunch of water tomorrow. And, you know, it's like you kind of go through those cycles. And I think one of the best things that I'm finding right now is the Facebook page. Every time I go on it, you guys are saying something that's like getting me back on track.
Yep. And that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I should have you guys all start like, hi, my name is so-and-so and I've lost this much weight. And how much have you lost?
I'm down 20 pounds since I started.
Yep. That's awesome. So very, very cool. Anyone else? Highs and lows and that. Okay, so nonetheless, whether you're having an off motivation long term, where you're MIA for a while, or short term, what I find is important is to know that the motivation is waiting for you when you're kind of in your low. So that is the most important message that I want to share, because if it hasn't happened to you, it will, because I've yet to encounter someone that has gone through anything without losing motivation. I mean, even your most prized possessions, you lose motivation. I'll never forget when my oldest, who's now 22, was 2, the god awful age of 2. I remember looking at baby pictures of her just so that I remembered that I loved her. I mean, I was like, I mean, we lose motivation in everything. So when you are having your low and you're eating the chips and you can't stop and you don't want to log on FitnessPal and you don't want to work out and you flat out just don't care, you have to take a moment and go, I have to just get through this for whatever reason. And don't even force yourself. Just get through it and know that the motivation is there. And like for me, when I'm having those weeks where, I'm up in weight and I have no motivation and I just don't care, I literally say to myself, this will pass. And next week or in 3 days, I'm going to be bouncing off the walls like my normal self, wanting to work out, and I'm going to be wanting to eat kale and tomatoes, and because I know that will happen. And maybe for you, it's not kale and tomatoes, and maybe you won't be bouncing off the walls, but for whatever it is, whatever your level of motivation is. And so what you have to do though is know that with motivation and people that are successful with motivation is you have to make it visual, and that it shouldn't be something that's not concrete, because oftentimes we only think of what we want to achieve as this intangible thing, and with weight it's this number, like this intangible number, and or this image, and that's not good enough. So what you have to do is create an actual concrete reason for why you're doing this, and maybe it is for the bikini body, but is it to look good? Is it to feel good? And all day long, I'm talking to people, and I've said this probably 10 times today. We judge ourselves and our happiness by what the scale says, then by how we feel, and then by how we look. And that's so wrong. It should be, how do we look? How do we feel? And then how does the scale say? And so you have to dig deep on that one and turn it around and start your motivation by thinking, how do I want to feel? How do I want to look? And then what does the scale say? And you know what, the scale's a bitch. I mean, she is a bitch. But I could have never gotten any of my weight loss goals accomplished without her. She does her job. I mean, she's a bitch, but she does her job, and you have to report to her. Otherwise, you're not going to see what you're doing. So, but don't let her control you, because we lose our motivation based on that. We do. We get on that scale and we see a number we don't want to see, and then all of a sudden we don't look the same, and then we don't feel the same, and our motivation is all messed up. So be really careful with that, and just know that your biggest goal is what you're doing. You're working towards your health. You're working toward all the habits that you guys have changed and created, which is insane to think. Like, wow, like think about all the different things that you guys have learned over the year or years. So any comments about that, about the seeing the motivation coming down the way when you're at a low, or the scale, our perception of ourselves, and what the scale does to us. Does anybody else let the scale affect our level of motivation?
I absolutely. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Chrissy, go ahead. You go for it.
I was gonna say the exact same thing as you. Like, I'm really, really, really good in staying on track all week. Weekends, not so much, especially in the summer. But seeing the scale every like Tuesday, Wednesday, back down to where I was because I'm on track is my motivation for staying 100%, like, okay, 90% on the plan. Like, especially, you know, Monday through Friday, but I know that it works. And so that's my motivation. Like, everything that I've learned works, and you get back on track and you drink a bunch of water and you know it's going to be back down. So that's my motivation. Pretty much the same exact as you.
Yep. Yeah. And again, that's pretty much just knowing, you know, you're trusting the process, is because you know,
Absolutely.
that, you know that you can slip away a little bit, and then as long as you get back on, and as long as you are true to the program, it'll come back. It's when you don't. And that's my next topic. Maintenance and the metabolism. So what happens when Saturday fun day turns to Saturday, Sunday fun day, rolls into Saturday, Sunday, Monday fun day, and then it rolls into Saturday, Sunday, Monday, okay, I'll be good for Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday's not so good. Well, the next thing you know, 2/3 of your week is off. And then, you know, you aren't realizing this because you've stopped logging because your metabolism's awesome, and you are weighing yourself. And, you know, the golden rules are weigh yourself, and you know, if you stop logging, that's fine, as long as you weigh yourself, you know, you're good. But then one day you realize that you are like literally not eating anything at all that is on the plan, and you are like not even eating healthy anymore. Like you've gone back to your old eating habits completely, but your portions are still small, your calories are probably lower, and somehow your weight is hanging in there, but maybe just gone up 5 pounds, 8 pounds. You're okay with it. What happens? Anybody?
Maintenance mode is a bitch. I don't like it. Cause like,
What'd you say?
I said maintenance mode is a bitch. It's such a mind game. Like, you're like, all right, well, I'm okay. I don't need to log. And then you're like, oh shit, I'm not logging. Now my weight's going up. Okay, I'm at the top of my maintenance scale. All right, now I got to get back down. Just like a game of trying to figure out how to keep it off. And for me, like, I get cellulite really easily. So if I start seeing that, I'm like, oh shit, I'm eating way too much sugar because I love candy and junk food, basically. And I'm like, all right, time to get back on it. And that's usually when my motivation goes back up. But I know you and I were pretty bad from October to December, and eating cookies and everything, Halloween candy. So, and I was losing weight. So I was like, all right, well, I'm still good because I'm losing weight. But then I saw that cellulite and I was like, all right, it's time to get back on track here, because that's just not cool. I'm losing weight, but I'm losing muscle probably too. So.
Yeah. And Vanessa, you've lost how much?
50 pounds since January 2019.
Yep. So she lost 50, and your metabolism's like, her metabolism is just amazing. I mean, and actually, you have, I think you probably stick with your calories, but there have been times where you've been completely off.
Well, it's like I'll eat 1 to 2, like a meal and 2 snacks, or 2, like, it's usually 1 meal is completely off during the day, and that's like my off. But I'm usually always eating some sort of get you fit meal during the day. But then like dinner's outrageous, like 3 slices of pizza or something crazy like that, or I'm just eating candies or cookies. I was living with my mother-in-law for almost a year, and she loves baking, so there's always cookies and cake and pie in the house. I'm just
Yeah, I mean, I was on the sidelines going, and I mean, there were many times where I would say to her, like, at first I would say, all right, well, live it up, girl. And then I was kind of like, you better slow down.
Yeah. You're
and
like,
then,
I'm 65. You might want to cool it out a little bit.
I was like, you better slow down. And then my big concern was, you're not going to be able to get your habits back. Because that's what's hard, is when you then are now trying to get the habits of the healthy eating again. And she's right. I moved in October, and from October to December, I was derailed. I mean, I literally was eating, there were nights where I was eating chips and like everyone's leftover pizza crust for dinner. And I was like, what am I doing? I mean, that was my dinner, and I was fine with it. And I was like 110 pounds. Now I would eat nothing, I wouldn't gain, but it was the same thing, cookies and crap. And what she said is, we all know muscle weighs more than fat. So you lose muscle, sure, you're losing weight. So that's just going to show on the scale. And you don't feel good. And then when I decided that I better start eating good, just like Vanessa, oh man, to start cooking again and start doing all that again, it was literally like starting with the January people all over again, having to go shopping and prepping, and it was hard. So you don't want to get too far away from that, because reestablishing the patterns, it's like starting over every time, and it's so much harder to keep starting over. As far as FitnessPal goes, and this is, I'd love to hear what you guys all think about this. You shouldn't have to log for the rest of your life. That's tedious. It's unrealistic. I have my FitnessPal. I refer to it all the time. I go on it when I go to restaurants. I go on it when I want to just see how much, calories something is. I go on it to build recipes. I go on it when I'm making something and I want to see how I could shave calories out of it. Obviously I go on it to check people's logs, but aside from that, I don't ever log my food anymore. And at a certain point, you shouldn't have to either, unless your weight creeps up and you're over that comfort zone, then get back on and log. But you shouldn't have to have this tool belt of gadgets around your waist for the rest of your life. Food scale, FitnessPal, measuring cups, spoons. That's not how I want you to live your life. But it should always be within reach, where don't ever think you're going to go to a restaurant and just assume that you can guess the calories of food. Why not look it up? It's right there. Why would you take the chance of eating something that is thousands of calories that you would never touch if it wasn't? But if you start feeling your weight slip up, get back on it. And by all means, if you are starting to bite and nibble, and if you haven't watched my mid program link, watch it, because I created 5 characters, and one of them was biting and nibbling and not logging, and another one was grazing after dinner, and it showed point blank in calories why these people weren't losing weight and gaining, in fact, and it's all right there in front of you. But with maintenance, if you ever stop weighing yourself, you're screwed.
It's been my saving grace. I weigh myself still every single day, and I send it to you for the accountability.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have 1 or 2 days every once in a while, or like I've said before, I've had it a week where I'm like, I know I'm up, I just can't do it to myself, you know. But I'd never go longer than 5 days, and there are days where I'm like, and the 5th day I'll go, all right, time to torture yourself, just do it, and then I'm ready to just take the pain, and then I'm like, let's do it. But if you go too long, the number is you are only what's the word I'm looking for? Denial or avoidance. It's avoidance. So don't ever go that long, because you're only making matters worse. And so the logging is if you're in maintenance and you're at the point where you're comfortable, but like Mayuri said, you know, she one day just like, she still logs, but the one day, you know, if you're not logging, if you're having like a munchies day and you want to log it to see everything that you've eaten, sometimes you got to do that to realize like, whoa, look what I just did, and then take it back. So
Irene, I had a question on that. You know, with the maintenance mode and not logging, I've been on MyFitnessPal since 2010. And what I've noticed is, you know, I go on and off since I've been with you, I've been on it. And my biggest fear with the maintenance mode is like, I'm going to stop logging and it's going to creep up and I'm not going to know what to do at that point. So I think this is good discussion to hear, but I'm just going to be honest, like that's one of my fears. So if I stop logging, I think I'm going to be in trouble. I don't know.
And please,
I agree.
Jump in.
I totally agree. I use it as accountability too, for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, whoa, that was a bad day. Okay. Tomorrow, new day, be better. You know, I absolutely use it as accountability. I don't want to not use it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a pain, but it was only a pain more at the beginning. Now it's just, that's my thing. That's what I do. I log everything, even if I do it later, you know?
Right. And
I need it.
There's a lady in the group. She's been, I think 8 years. 7 years. She hasn't broken a streak once.
Wow. Yeah, so, I was gonna not log one day, and my son's like, "Well, then you're gonna break your streak," you know, because they're all about streaks on, you know, like Snapchat and stuff. I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't want to do that."
Yeah, totally. So, and you know, again, to each their own. You know, and the more you log, the more you know your library is built up then. But you know, if you are at the point, because a lot of people do get to that point where they're like, I cannot, this is stressing me out, I can't do this for the rest of my life, then at that point, I'll tell you what I did. When I stopped logging, I would do little okay, if you guys didn't already think I had issues, I would do like little sticks in my head. Like for breakfast, I'd be like, look little, okay, that's 400 calories. And I would just keep a running record in my head as long as I didn't go over my calories for the day. So it's not like I didn't keep track mentally of what I ate. So I knew I had 300 calories at breakfast. And then if I had a snack, I'd have like, okay, 200 calories. In my head, it would be 500. And I just knew by the end of the day, I was at my, you know, my 1600 calories or whatever it was, you know, so this is two sticks. and, you know, every once in a while I'd either, you know, jot it down somewhere or whatever. I knew that I had some sort of system. Do I do that now? No, I somehow eventually transitioned out of that. I can't tell you when. My brain obviously got tired of it. But I still weigh, and yes, when I have gained, I've gone back to FitnessPal. Mm-hmm.
What I've done too with the maintenance, I make sure to weigh myself every day to make sure I'm not going up. And Irene said, hey, you're up there, time to start logging, get back down. I'm like, okay, so I get my motivation back, start logging, I'm back down, and then I stay, and then it goes back up sometimes and back down. So it just kind of, I mean, it's always been within my 5-pound range, but I make sure to weigh myself and again text her so I feel that accountability, like, hey, I'm gaining too much weight. Or
Even if you send an emoji, right?
yep. I always send her the weight.
I know, yeah.
I think there's maybe been 5 days in the last year and a half I haven't sent her a weight, and that's because I didn't have a scale. So
She's been
Mhm.
really
Yeah.
loyal. Yeah. So,
mhm.
anyways, any more questions? Comments? Okay, so yeah.
Sorry. I was going to say, what scared me was I went on vacation for 7 days
Uh-huh.
and to a hotel for a couple of the days, eating out, and then I went and stayed with family. Thankfully,
Oops. What happened? Can you guys hear her?
Mm-mm.
Oh. I was hoping she would talk because she was away for a whole week. Hang on one second. Do you guys see her? Yeah. Stephanie, can you hear me? Steph? Oh, what happened? Oh, well, she was in the middle of, I hope she comes back. She was in the middle of saying she was on vacation for like 2 weeks. And I don't know what she was going to say, but from what I interpret is she didn't gain any weight while she was gone. And I'm guessing she was going to share that she stuck to the plan, or whether she did or not. Oh, I'm so sad that she might have had a bad connection. Anyways, I'm sure it was a good story. So Stephanie, if you're watching the recording. Okay, so on finishing note, thank you guys for joining. I love that you guys came out for this, and I do hope to have more. I want to do other topics, so if you guys, I have a whole list generated, but if you guys have a topic that you want to talk about, stuff that comes up later, stuff that we don't think about until we're later in the program, motivation and weight gain kind of stuck up in my mind. But as you guys are trucking through your days, it might be something like building recipes or modifying recipes, or how do you take a recipe and remake it like something really bad and make it really healthy. Just text it to me, and then I'll put it kind of on my list, and we'll keep having these because I love being able to do this. And then keep reading the newsletters. I've changed the format. I know that a lot of you guys have commented on that. And keep communicating with me. I have set up my system now where you can make appointments to speak with me. So those of you that, is this her? Let's see. Yep, Stephanie? Steph? Hi. We can't hear you.
okay, sorry. I said, of course, when I went to talk, my internet just got messed up, so I had to come in my phone. No, what I was just going to say is it was really scary when I went on vacation and have a scale, didn't have my, everything. I didn't end up using my Fitness Pal because I didn't make anything, I didn't cook anything. What I came back and I texted you, you're like, oh, welcome back. I was wondering where you were. And I was only up like 2 pounds, and it was like, but what really helped was before I left, I prepped snacks, and breakfast. So every day, started my day with either the cheddar muffins or the Get You Fit muffins.
Awesome.
I made a bunch of the apple cider donuts to bring for snacks and stuff. And then when we ran around, I mean, we did a lot of activities and museums. I did that, and then I just made sure to make healthier choices. I mean, yeah, I did have some not so good days, but I started the day out better, drank tons of water, and then when we went like on the lake and stuff, I grabbed like fruits and nuts and stuff for snacks. So
Okay, good.
regardless of like MFP, it was really nice that I had that good foundation that, okay, listening to everyone else with their stories and traveling and everything, like I was able to prep and get my mind in that, okay, at least if I start my day good, try to make as many good choices, we'll be okay.
That's awesome.
So coming home 7 days with kids, 2 pounds up, I was ecstatic.
Yeah. And you know what? It's probably, you've probably lost the 2 already. I mean, have you, it's going to come down. I mean, you just.
Yeah, I came down, and then it was like Shark Week. So I kind of went up because during that week, you just want to munch on those bad things. But then, yeah, I'm going back down, and I'm getting back in the motivation to work out.
Yeah.
I think that's what I struggle with is because I'm home all day working. And then I have a 5-year-old who is just up my butt, and you're trying to be stressed and then do dinner. And I'm like, I don't feel like working out. I just want to sit here. So I've been trying to do it on like a lunch. Yeah. And before dinner, you know, like, hey, you guys go do something. I'm going to work out real quick.
Yeah. That's awesome. Cool. Well, great story. Great story. Thanks for sharing. Yeah. And it's always awesome to be able to go away like that and be like, oh my God, I did it. I learned something. That's awesome. So, so cool. Anyways, so I was just talking about scheduling more of these meetings. And I'm going to actually start scheduling open Zoom hours a couple times a week. I did one today because I didn't do a live workout and I loved it. I just had an open office hour and people just popped in and either said hi or asked questions or whatever. So it's like my little Get You Fit office, and you guys can come in and visit or talk or ask questions or whatever. So, all right. So cheers to the loyals. You guys have a good rest of the night. And I will, I'm sure, talk to you guys first thing in the morning.
Bye.
Thanks for doing
Bye.
this.
Thank you.
Bright and early. Past my bedtime.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
See ya.